Last week we went over these different types of expository writing, ways of giving information. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Right. So today I want to do a couple examples with you of a few of these, and then talk about comparison and contrast because we didn't do that one, right? So I want to look at today cause and effect, problem and solution, comparison and contrast, so 6, 7, 8, and then probably also 2 and 3, sequencing / process. All right, we want to do some examples of those together. So that will take the first hour of class, and the next hour of class, provided that we have time, we will go into another type of writing, descriptive writing. Right. All right, so let's go to another slide here. Okay, so these were our possible topics. Now, would you all like to pick one of these topics? Let's choose one to write a paragraph on. Superheroes. Okay, that's the first one we got. Superheroes and their movies. All right. So I'll go with the first one, and then when we're done with the first example, I'll ask again for another topic. Right? All right, so we're doing let's do sequencing or process. So I'm going to give us a topic sentence. So we're doing examples, right, of paragraphs, of expository paragraphs. Right. All right, so first one that we're going to do is sequencing or process. Now, these I gave to you as 2 different ones, but we're going to think about it in terms of one today, as one type today, right? All right, so here is the question. What must a person undergo to become a superhero? Right? All right, so let me explain again what we're doing. Last week I gave you a lot of definitions and a lot of connecting words for the different types of ways of organizing expository paragraphs. This week we want to actually make up some examples together. So eventually we will end up with an example of a paragraph that is a sequencing or process paragraph. And yes, I will want you to have the example in your book or in your notes. So it would be a good idea to start writing as we go, if you could concentrate and write at the same time. At the end of the example, I will give a few minutes, but it will not be enough time for everything, right? For some people to write on everything, unless they're very fast writers. All right, so I'm getting good ideas in the chat. Undercover, magic powers, tragic events. The recording is on, right? Everybody can see it. Tragic events, right? Saving somebody, they could be born with it. All right. An epiphany. Okay. So what must a person undergo to become a superhero? So we're just thinking about superhero movies and TV shows that we've seen when people become superheroes. What had to happen to them? What had to happen to Superman for him to become Superman, or to Batman for him to become Batman? All right, so there are many steps in making a superhero, right? So by using the word steps, I'm already telling the reader it will be a process. So now we're going to put together some of what y'all are saying, right? Usually, the first thing is a major event, a major tragic event, or an epiphany, that a person has superpowers. All right. Okay. All right. So some people are saying something treated with something in medicine. It's okay. So usually for things like major tragic events. All right. Well, let me change this usually because now there are many major things that could happen first. So the first thing could be a major tragic event or an epiphany. All right, well, I will leave it as those two, but I understand what you're saying, that it is possible to have some kind of medical treatment, and then that makes them into the superhero, right? All right. After this, what happens? What has to happen for them to become a superhero next? To finish transforming them into a superhero character. First, there's the thing that starts it all. What is an epiphany? That's a good question. What is an epiphany, guys? It's a nice word. We've probably all experienced it. Uh-oh. Okay, so an epiphany, I would say, is a moment when you realize something that changes your life. A great realization, right? A breakthrough. Yeah. So maybe and it could be simple things. It doesn't have to be that you're a superhero. Maybe you're listening to a song and all of a sudden the lyrics make sense in the song, even though you've listened to it over and over and over, and it just didn't, you couldn't figure out what they were saying before. That could be an epiphany. Or something keeps happening to you over and over in life, and you realize, wait a minute, this is happening because I do XYZ, and instead of doing XYZ, I should do something else. Right. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. They get bitten by an insect or an animal, right? That is a possibility, or treated by medicine. That is a possibility that can make them into a superhero. But because I am writing about a process, I already have something as the first event in my process, so I'm not going to include the other ways they could become a superhero, right? All right. After the person has something that inspires them to become a superhero happen, what happens next? So for instance, let's take Batman. He lost his parents, or even Superman. He discovered that he was an alien from another planet. Then what happens to continue transforming them into a superhero? So I would say the next step, all right, seems to be that they strengthen and test. Okay, good, good. Their newfound abilities. All right. So because we don't want the paragraph to get too long, all right, they start training and they get a suit. All right. So they start training and they get a suit. All right, let's put in after this. So we have another transitional phrase here. After this, they start training and they get a suit. Do they get minions? You could put that into your paragraph. They will never be the same again. Okay, great. Let's use that line to close off the paragraph. At this point, no matter what happens next, yeah, they could get psychic. That could be something else that happens. The clones, okay, I don't know what superhero we're thinking of, but yes, no matter what happens next, one thing, they will never be the same again, right? All right. Most of them have a phase where they become evil. Yeah. All right. All of these are great ideas that if I wasn't asking you all to write it down, I would put in. But if I keep putting in, if we keep putting in ideas, the paragraph is going to get longer and longer, and we will get a little frustrated with writing it down, right? But all of those are things that you could put in as steps. So first this happens, then this happened, and then this happens. So look at our clue words that this is processed. So all while we're talking, you know, I'm hoping that people are also writing down things, right? So we have steps as one keyword to tell us it's a process. We have the first thing as another key phrase tells us process. The next step, because we don't want to repeat thing. After this, right? So the after tells us, right? And so we have clue words to tell us it's a process, right? And then also, you would remember that we talked about a sandwich. We drew a burger as a model for a paragraph, right? So note that we have a topic sentence, right? Which is our top piece of bread. We have all these details in the middle. And then we have a closing sentence, which kind of says the same thing over again. Right? No matter what happens next, they will never be the same again. It doesn't repeat the word superhero, but that's what it means. They will be a superhero now from now on forever, right? So we have mimicked our little pattern here of the sandwich, right? And the reason we use a sandwich is because we want everything to get across to people. It's not to be boring. If you have a sandwich, you could, you know, take a bite of many different things at the same time. You could take piece of cheese, piece of lettuce, piece of burger, some condiments, and it would be delicious, right? If I only eat a piece of bread, or if I only eat a piece of cheese, or only a piece of tomato, it might be delicious on its own, but, you know, not as good when I combine it. So it's the same thing for a paragraph. If you sandwich your points between a topic sentence and a closing sentence, then the points will stay with the reader. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's lunchtime. Sorry if I'm making you hungry. During break time, you can go make a sandwich quickly and come back. All right, so I'm giving us a couple of minutes now to take down the example. The annotations are your choice, right? Remember that the stuff in yellow, those are the connecting words or transitional phrases or linking words, or there may be other names you have for them. It seems like teachers have 500 different names for these things, right? But basically these are signal words I think we used last week. See, even me. So signal words, this stuff in yellow, right? Or transitions. And the stuff in blue is just to remind us of the structure of the paragraph. Right. So I'm shutting up now for 2 minutes, only 2 minutes. While you take down the example, and then we'll go on to another pattern of organization, right? All right, guys, how are we doing with the note taking? We want 2 more minutes. All right, so some people are done and some people want 2 more minutes. So 2 more minutes, and then we'll continue with another example. Oh, yes, good observation. So Elijah is pointing out that at this point is also a transitional phrase. All right, I didn't highlight it just now, but it is a transitional phrase as well, or a signal word or linking word, right? All right, so 1 more minute. All right. I think, well, we got 2 more extra minutes there, but we can continue at this point, right? Okay, so if you are still writing, I'm sorry, but you need to take a screenshot or take a picture and come back to it later on, right, for homework. Or you could plan to come back to the recording and get it there, right? All right, so I need to clear the screen. So I'm counting to 10. So anybody who needs to take a screenshot could do so. Okay, I'm having some issues with my chats. I can't seem to send. Let me close. I'll close the chat and reopen it, and maybe that will take care of it. All right. So what is the topic? The topic is the thing at the top: examples of expository paragraphs. Right. And then the first one we did was sequencing or process. All right. So I'm clearing the screen. Yeah, I could see your messages, right? But when I type in the chat, for some reason, the writing is not showing. No, it's not typing. All right, but that's okay. All right. Okay, so I'm clearing the screen and we're going to do another one. The next one we want to do is problem and solution. So give me, just bear with me here. All right, so let me make it bigger again. Okay, so next one we're doing is problem and solution. What's the biggest problem you think that superheroes face since we started with them? What's the biggest problem that superheroes face? Now the screen is blurry. My goodness, what is going on? All right. Yeah, all right. So is it better now? The screen is clear now. Okay, so destroying everything, ruining their free time, being hated by society, having to hide their identity, keeping their identity secret, mental issues, fighting bad guys, supervillains. You'll have lots of important problems here. Okay, well, let's take the one about hiding their identity. All right, that seems a fairly simple one. Okay, so one of the major problems that superheroes face is that of hiding their identity, right? Trying to save the city, people don't accept them for who they are when they find out about the transformation, almost dying all the time. Yeah. If he or she does something wrong, it goes viral in no time. Yeah, okay, that would be a modern day superhero, right? All right. Everybody can see now. Is the screen better now? Okay, thanks. So if there's still a problem on your end, maybe give it a little while to adjust, and if not, you could try logging out and logging back in. All right, so one of the major problems superheroes face is that of hiding their identity, right? Now, can you all tell me some more about why this is a problem? Okay, so people already have. They need to do this to protect their family and friends and to try to balance their two lives. Okay, so this problem is to protect, oh no, it affects, right, their ability to balance their two lives and protect their family and friends, right? All right, so what are the solutions? What do they do to solve this problem? How do they, all right, good, they wear costumes. They wear costumes. And sometimes a mask, right? What else do they do to keep this problem from becoming a problem for others? All right, they learn how to control their powers. That's true. One more. All right. Oh, y'all thinking about Batman. They changed their voice. All right. So right. Okay. So they keep it a secret. They have a superhero name. They change their voice. Okay. All of these are great. In the interest of keeping the paragraph, not having the paragraph become too long, I will just pick one to round it off, right? How to control their, sorry, powers, not problems, right? Let me put the parts about changing their voice up here. It will fit in up here as a little detail. To solve this problem, they wear costumes, and sometimes a mask. Let me put it, they change their voice. They may change their voice, wear costumes. All right. Okay, they transform into superhero form in areas hidden away from public. All right. They dye their hair, they brainwash people who find out. Okay, all of these are good points. They learn how to control their powers and do their best to keep them a secret. All right, now let's see. We want just a closing sentence to wrap up this paragraph. The screen just changes. That's Google doing its own thing, right? Okay, it's back now. One sentence to close off this paragraph. The main idea is that one of the major problems that superheroes face is hiding their identity, right? We want to repeat that main idea to close off the paragraph. How could we say that? How could we say back that main idea in a sentence to close off the paragraph? All right, so I'm putting some options that students have put in the chat, which may be an answer to my question, but it may also be an answer to the part before, I'm not sure. But you all are going to tell me which one would work best. All right, so look at these options. Let me repeat my question. We've written a paragraph on a problem that a superhero faces, and not three things. What are some possible solutions? How do they deal with the problem? And I'm asking now for a sentence that will repeat the main point of the main idea of the paragraph. And the main idea is in the first sentence. A major problem is their identity. Okay, you're like the last one. Okay, good. So the always tell a friend one is not quite the main idea of the paragraph. What else? The hunting never ends. I think this could be the main idea of the paragraph, but it won't be clear to everybody reading it. I thought it was a very creative sentence to say that, you know, they always have this problem. Somebody is looking out for who they really are. All right, but let's go with the third one. Having a personal life. Does it have the idea of secret identity in it? So maybe we should put that in. Having a personal life is a challenge for a superhero who must keep his true personality hidden. And I just saying true personality because the person said personal life. So I'm trying to be clever by saying true personality hidden. Right? But it gives the idea that he has to hide. All right. So this is our example for problem and solution, right? So look at what we've done. The first part of the paragraph is the problem, right? Here is the problem. And then here are the solutions. So actually, now that I think about it, maybe in the closing sentence, we need to mention solutions. So maybe we need to say, in spite of these possible solutions, having a personal life is a challenge for a superhero who must keep his true personality hidden, right? So again, just like in the example before, I just want to point out some things, then I'll check the chat again, right? This first part here, what you doing, pen? Right, this first part here, this line here, and this line is our topic sentence, right? That says the main idea. And then here, this is our closing sentence that says back the main idea. Right? So in the past, in the first class, we talked about the paragraph as being like a sandwich, right? It has two pieces of bread, one at the beginning, one at the ending, to hold everything together, right? So the topic sentence is our top piece of bread. Oh, this is a sad looking piece of bread. It's the bigger bun. Look, it's become a brioche bun now, right? And here's our bottom piece of bread. It's not as pretty to look at, not as thick as the top piece, but it's bread. It will hold the sandwich together. And in between these details is the burger patty. That's some cheese, that's some tomatoes, that's some mustard, some ketchup, all the little details in between, held together by the topic and the closing sentence, held together by the top piece of bread and the bottom piece of bread, right? All right, any questions about that? So one of the main things that I want y'all to take away from this 4 weeks, okay, sorry guys, about making you all hungry because it's so close to lunchtime. Right, one of the main things I want y'all to take away from this 4 weeks, if you take away nothing else, if you don't remember any of the details, remember that a paragraph must be like a sandwich. A strong paragraph must be like a sandwich. You must state your main idea first. You must give your reasons, your explanation, your details. That's all the things in the middle of the sandwich. And you must give your ending, your main idea again at the end, so people will remember it. Right, that's the bottom piece of bread. This is our 3rd week, so we have 1 week left. All right, so this was problem and solution. So I'm giving you time to write down the example. Now for problem and solution, we did everything in one paragraph. We put the problem at the top and the solution below. Next week is our last week, not this week, right? You could stretch this out into 2 paragraphs. You take 1 paragraph and you talk about the problem, and you take another paragraph and you talk about the solutions. And that would be a good thing to use in a letter, like a letter C, you're writing a letter to the editor to complain about something. You detail the problem in 1 paragraph, and in the next paragraph, you tell them this is what you all should do to fix it, right? Or it could be in an essay. Again, you identify a problem, you need someone to listen to the solutions. You list out your solutions in the second body paragraph, right? All right, so I'm giving us 2 minutes, or 3 minutes is 12:12. So let's see at 12:15 if we could finish up the example by 12:15. Right? In terms of transitional phrases, this one didn't have as many. Some people are done already, great. Right? This one didn't have as many. So one of the major problems was our signal word this time. And then in spite of is another phrase. To solve this problem is another phrase. Right? For sure, there's room to put in others. Like you could put in an also here. Also, they learn how to control their powers and do their best. One of the major problems that superheroes face is protecting their identity. We could say consequently here, this problem affects, or moreover, this problem affects, right? All right, 2 more minutes. Okay, a lot of y'all are done. That's great. All right. I want to clear the screen, so I'm going to count to 10. So in the meantime, screenshots, take a picture, or plan to come back to the recording if you're not done with your notes, right? All right. Cause and effect was one more we wanted to do, and then I want to look at compare and contrast. All right. What aspect of a superhero do you think involves cause and effect? So I'm just trying to find the slide that I need to make into a blank slide. I think is probably this one. No, yeah, this one, right? Right. What aspect of superheroes, if you think about superheroes, usually leads to cause and effect? Or involves us thinking about cause and effect, not leads to cause and effect. Is the question kind of confusing? It might be. All right, so let me what okay, yeah, what a superhero does can affect their whole personal life. All right, yeah, okay, that's a good one. Let's go with that one. That's a very clear one, Matthew. Thank you. Poor decision making. Okay, yes, can have many effects in a superhero's life. Yeah. All right, but let's take Matthew's own because, well, his own came first and it's a very clear idea we could probably all relate to, right? A superhero's actions has many effects on his life, right? Or on his personal life, right? All right, so here is our topic sentence, right? What are the different effects that a superhero's decision can have on his life, on his personal life? Think about superhero movies you've seen, and the superheroes make choices. Okay, not being able to study or to have a love life, to have anybody who's close to them. They can have stress, they can miss important events, right? Okay, so choosing to follow or no, to be responsible for the world can lead to him. I'm assuming the superheroes are him in my paragraphs, but obviously they could be a she, right? Missing, or can lead him to miss, rather, important events. Right? He can endanger his family, even though that is not his intention. All right. Okay, so instead of being, well, we said important events just now, so I don't want to put back that here. What else? You'll have relationships. They could lose people. They have to keep secrets from loved ones. The government could end up hunting them down, right? Okay, so his relationships might fall apart. And okay, let's put in a transition here. So additionally, even though he is a good person, the government might still hunt him down, right? All right, so now we need to close off the paragraph again. The first thing was his actions have many effects on his life. Oh, hey, I have a grammatical error in the first sentence. Anybody seen it? Have, yes, this has, it's supposed to be have, because the actions have. Right. Okay, so back to my closing sentence now. I want to see about this main idea from up here. Yeah, he might have to leave his home. That could be another effect. His relationships might fall apart and he might have to leave home. Let me put that in there. I want to say back my main idea of the paragraph to close it off. What can I say? A superhero's actions may have effects on his personal life. Yeah, his health is another thing that could be endangered, right? All right, so we're gonna put to close to say back the main idea. We could say what's another word for effects? Oh yeah, all these occurrences, thanks Diana, all of these occurrences can seriously impact his life. Do we know another word for effects? What's another word for effects? You all know the word repercussions, results, outcomes, impacts. Okay, great. So we could just say back those things, but Diana gave us one already, right? So we will stick with that. But other options could be There are many repercussions to any action he takes. There are many different results or outcomes for any action he takes, right? That's all we're saying, that there are lots of different effects that would affect him personally, right? All right. Okay, so we're taking on this example. We're finishing this example. So the same thing as before, I'm pointing it out and not annotating this time. We had a topic sentence, this part here. Says the main idea. We have a concluding sentence, this part here. Says the main idea again, right? And then in the middle, we have all our little details. And I didn't point this out for the others, but look at how many sentences we've tried to put in. We put in 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences, right? We want, when we are writing essays, to try to have at least 6 sentences in a paragraph for essays. For letters, it's different. It can be shorter. For stories, it can be longer. It can be shorter. We can be a little more creative. But you see, for essays, we want to have at least 6. 2 of those are already taken care of for you, because you have to say your main idea to start with, and you have to say your main idea to close off with. So it's really 4 sentences of content you have to come up with. All right, so I'm giving us a few minutes. This will take us until close to 12:30, probably some of us, to write on the example, right? And then we can take a short break, or we could try and start back by 12:35. We still have to talk about compare and contrast and do an example. So we could compare Superman and Batman, or you could choose 2 different superheroes. All right, so I'm muting myself, right? We're trying to take down the example here. And then I will check in with you before we go on break again. But if you want, once you finish writing, if you want to take your break a few minutes early, you can do that. So I'm going to pause the recording now. Somebody has to remind me to start it back. Why do we sometimes say compare, and why do we sometimes say contrast? Compare means to highlight what? And contrast means to highlight what? So I'll give you an example. All right, Khadija knows you've put the answer in. Yeah. All right, so if I compare Superman and Batman, then I will say they are both superheroes. But if I contrast Superman and Batman, I will say, you know, Superman comes from a different planet, whereas Batman comes from Earth. Or Superman has super strength, while Batman has money. So what's the difference between compare and contrast? Compare means highlighting similarities, and contrast means highlighting differences. But a lot of times they are used interchangeably, right? So the question might tell you, compare and contrast these 2 cars, or compare and contrast the 2 characters in a play, or compare and contrast the speaker in the poem with the other people in the poem, right? Right. Comparison, they both lost their parents at a young age, right? Okay, good. Good. So compare and contrast, this method, so this is our definition first of writing, means highlighting. Can't see just now. Chat windows, highlighting. Wow, that's some terrible spelling there. Highlighting similarities and differences. Right, between 2 things. Yes, so compare means to highlight similarities, and contrast means to highlight differences. So I'm going to take this, thank you, Kemi. I'm going to put this in brackets underneath our thing, right? Okay, so yes, I would like us to note this. I'm going to take the underline off of here. All right. Okay, so and for the example now, we will write again about Superman and Batman, right? So Superman and Batman have are both superheroes. However, they are not both the same. Oh, somebody wants to change the superhero topic. All right, what do we want besides superheroes? And I'll change this sentence. What topic we want to use besides superheroes? Harry Potter, villains. By cars, we mean, oh my. So we have like basically anything but superheroes. Like every single other topic is coming up. Okay, I've gotten the most Harry Potter and cars. So do you want to choose between Harry Potter and cars? Cars. Okay, fine, cars. Fine, we'll use cars. We'll use cars. But you'll have to tell me the cars to use because I don't know anything about cars. All right, so pick two cars that we could compare and contrast. Mazda and Honda. Okay. All right, so Mazda and Honda both, I go with the first one, both make vehicles, or both make cars, right? But the cars, the models are very, but what about them is very different. So Mazda and Honda, the brands, right? All right. So, but okay, so let's say, but the cars are very different. Okay, so first, let me give you a couple minutes to write any definitions. And then, so if you are done, you could start thinking about, and you can put some in the chat if you want. How are they similar? What do they have in common? And then also what is different about them? All right, so think about it. What do they have in common and then what's different about them? So I'm gonna just mute myself for a couple minutes and then we'll continue, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna take Vishan's sentence here because this will be useful for us later on. We could either put it up as a, so what do they have in common? I feel like this is a nice summary sentence. It's going at the bottom. It'll be the bottom piece of writing. Models are different, but they both make really good vehicles. What is Ben? What is BEN? We are doing, okay, in our example, we are doing both. So I'm asking you first, or Ben, sorry. No. What do they have in common? What do the both vehicles have in common? What kind of people buy them? All right, so both cars or both brands of cars, both brands of cars can go up to similar speeds. And if this is not true, then for some of you car enthusiasts, well, hard luck leaving it. Yeah, you could correct it in your paragraph when you're writing it if you want. Okay, so the prices are affordable, right? They also offer affordable prices. Okay, Terrence, I have no idea what that means, but I believe you. All right, anything else they have in common? Okay, now we're getting into differences. Mazda parts are cheaper than Honda. Would we agree with this? Yeah, this we still in the same paragraph or example paragraph. We didn't use a however yet, so we will put in a however, right? However, there are certain differences. Just in case my electricity goes, I will try to log back in on Wi-Fi, right? Just my lights are flickering, so just I want it. Okay, so they don't look the same. Parts for, somebody was saying parts for Mazda are cheaper or parts for Honda are cheaper? I should say replacement parts. That will sound less slangy. What is the cheaper parts? Replacement parts for... Okay, I'm going to go with Mazda. Mazda, okay, great. Mazda are cheaper. All right, any other difference? One other difference? All right, even though, okay, so I'm adding in what somebody is saying here, right? Even though Honda cars are more reliable, or Hondas are more reliable and more popular. Let's break up the sentence and put in a nice conjunction, notwithstanding. Right? So notwithstanding this, or in spite of this is like notwithstanding, right? If you could use in spite of, you can say notwithstanding this. All right, so piece of my thing fell off the screen, so I have to make it smaller to fit, which means I have to change the zoom, and then I will zoom back out so you could also see the whole thing, right? One takes CNG and one takes gas, is that true? I thought all cars could take CNG if you change the tank. Was I lied to? Did they lie to me? Oh, not all, really? Wow, this is so interesting. Okay, we should do cars more often. I'm learning a lot. All right, so the models are different, but okay, so I think that we have enough for a paragraph here. We can put in a nevertheless. Although the models are different. They both make really good vehicles. So let's look at the whole paragraph. Mazda and Honda both make cars, but the cars are very different. Both brands of cars can go up to similar speeds. They also offer affordable prices. However, there are certain differences. They don't look the same. Replacement parts for Mazda are cheaper. Notwithstanding this, Hondas are more reliable and more popular. Nevertheless, although the models are different, they both make really good vehicles. All right, I don't think nevertheless is working here because we just had a notwithstanding, and if I put nevertheless, it sounds awkward. Guys, rain is starting to fall by me, so if you have trouble hearing, you'll tell me, right? All right, let me try it. Although the models are different, both make really good vehicles. All right. Also, you'll hear the sound of the ghost getting louder. Okay, everybody can see the paragraph, okay? Oh, some of my classes, they tell me they could hear a ghost in the background. It's really wind that comes through the window, a crack in the window that we can't close fully. Yeah, it's not really a ghost, right? But as the wind picks up, you'll hear it. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some time to make a note of the example. And then we will decide what we're doing next. I was making a joke about the ghost. The house isn't actually haunted. It's just there's wind that comes in the window, and sometimes classes hear it and they say, "Miss, there are ghostly sounds in the background." It's because of the wind, right? In other news, does anyone live close to PriceMart? How is the weather around there? The one in Chaguanas, not the one in anywhere else. All right, so we're taking down the example. And if you're done, you can let me know if you live close to PriceMart. How is the weather? Okay, not bad. All right. Okay, that's good. Yeah, PriceMart and Price Plaza. Okay, some people are finished. Sky is setting up. Okay. Are you all excited for the starting back of the term? How come? So some yeses, some no's. You're not excited to see your friends again? All right, so some people have finished the notes. Anybody still writing? Okay, a couple people are. All right, so 2 more minutes and then we'll continue. Okay. I think by now we should be done, right? This wasn't too long and we had a lot of time. Anybody still writing? Let me know. All right, so I'm counting to 10. If anybody needs to, they could screenshot it and then we will continue, right? Okay. So we're ready to switch gears and go into our third type of writing. So at the beginning of the summer, I said this summer we're going to look at these classes. We're going to look at 4 different types of writing. So we've done 2 so far. We did argumentative and we did expository, right? So if anybody is still writing, I'm sorry, you'll need to take a screenshot and come back to it, right? All right. The last type of writing I want us to introduce ourselves to today is descriptive, right? And then next week, we'll talk a little bit about narrative. I'll change the font in a second. So I'll change it to white so it will be clearer, right? Okay, so descriptive writing. So have we heard of this? What is descriptive writing? What I can do is, because we'll finish by 20 past, I can go back to the slide that you all are not done with. And I can give you some time to write it down. Yeah, so descriptive writing is describing, right? But we're trying to do it in a really, really vivid way, right? All right, so this type of writing appeals to the 5 senses. So not just your sight, you're not just creating something for people to see. The other senses must be engaged as well, right? It's all 5 senses. It is meant to help the reader experience something, right? Whether visually or in terms of touch, taste, smell. What's the sense that I'm missing? Sight, touch, taste, smell was the other one. Sound, right? I'm missing sound, yeah. All right. Or in terms of a feeling. Right, okay. Yes, so to engage your readers' 5 senses, but also to get them involved emotionally or in terms of a feeling. You must try to get them to want to hear what is coming next, right? All right, so usually in a story, the description is where we put the setting. Through description, we reveal the setting. But we can also reveal character through description in stories, right? So in stories, narratives, which is the focus of next week, right? Description is the main tool to create setting and to describe character. Let me change main to an important tool, because there are other ways you could describe character, even if there are not so many other ways to describe setting. A main tool. From the I'll put A. Right? Okay, so right now a lot of people have bad weather. If they look out their window, if they're outside and they look around them, they have bad weather, right? So let us take a boring sentence, a not very descriptive sentence, and change it. So the weather was bad. I want to change this into something that is more detailed and more descriptive. What can I change it to? Suggestions, thoughts? Trying to make that look like an hour. It's not working. All right, so we have the weather was dark and stormy. We're going to talk about the different ones, right? The weather was overcast and gloomy. Our paws raised. The trees touched the floor. Hey, these are long sentences people are putting here. I hope you all are writing these and not finding them on Google. Great. Okay. You all are putting on lots of good ones, but because the chat is moving up, I can't get to all, right? So gray clouds fill the sky. No blue sky was seen. Okay, there are lots of good ones. I'm gonna read out some of the ones that I can't type or get to copy and paste because the chat is scrolling up as more comments come in, right? Let me go back up here. The clouds were plump and gray with their tears, coloring the surroundings in their dark, melancholy color. Dark, gloomy clouds consume the evening sky with lightning dancing to the beat of thunder. Right? Those are very descriptive, very good. The weather was dark and gloomy with winds billowing through the leaves of trees, or I like this one. I'm gonna add this one here to our list. But I like a lot of them, huh? But this one stayed still long enough for me to add it. All right. Okay. What else? Gray clouds fill the sky, no blue sky was seen. All right, I have that one there. It was overcast with the grumpy clouds just beginning to cry. All right. Dark and gray woolly clouds threatening the surrounding sky like a predator encircling its prey. Its droplets fell from the sky, limitless. Okay. The wind howled similarly to a ghost. Okay, pregnant gray clouds covered the sky. The weather was so bad, the white clouds turned into gray. Loud bullets of rain splashed on the ground. The weather was harsh, the sky turned black while lightning danced across the sky. All right, okay, good. Street is silent. The clouds are gray. It's like a ghost street without a sound. Yeah, okay, good. Nature was sad and angry. Sky was dark and gloomy. Okay, good. These are good. All right, so let's look at the examples on the screen. I think that they range from, they get stronger as we go down with the examples. The weather was dark and stormy. All right, that's okay. The weather was overcast and gloomy. Okay. Then the next examples took out the weather or went way beyond the structure of this was that, like the basic sentence, and made the sentences more complicated, right? Our paws raised. I know that's something we say in Trinidad. I'm wondering if we should say the hair on our arms stood up instead. I think I would prefer that grammatically. The hair on our arms stood on it, right? I'm just wondering if our paws raised is a Trinidadian only expression or a standard English expression. So that's why I'm changing it. The trees touched the floor, so that tells us that the wind was so strong it was blowing on the trees. Maybe we could change floor to ground. Yeah, you could say goosebumps instead. That would be okay, right? Okay, gray clouds fill the sky. No blue sky was seen. Okay, so since the first part of the sentence has sky, we could probably take off sky here. No blue. We could say could be seen. The weather was dark and gloomy with winds billowing through the leaves of trees. Okay, I like this one because of the use of the word billowing, especially. What is it once instead of billowing? I don't know. Nothing. Right. Billowing tells you strong strong breeze, right? All right, our class will finish by 20 past, guys, so in 10 minutes. All right, the weather was dark and gloomy, winds blowing through the leaves of the trees. Yeah. All right, so as the sentences went on, people added details, and people added interesting words, right, to make the description more specific. All right, so let me give you some time to take down the examples. And then we will do one more descriptive writing exercise, and then we will wrap up there, right? So just given 2 minutes to take down the examples, and then one more short exercise. All right. Anybody still writing? Some people are done. A lot of people are done. So if you're still writing, I'm gonna count to 10. Take a screenshot, please, and then we will continue. Just one more short exercise. All right. So we're continuing one short exercise, right? One more short thing. So description can show or can give a taste of things to come. Right? It can help the reader guess whether something, or the mood of the story, right? The mood of what is about to happen. All right. So let's start a story with a sunny day. So we do an example, right? And the example is, so people love to start the stories. Well, okay, terrible writers love to start stories this way. Okay, I just going back for 1 second so that one person could screenshot quickly. Okay, go ahead, screenshot it. Okay, can I go ahead now? All right, let me go ahead, and if you need me to come back, I'll come back, right? All right, so example. People love to start terrible stories with the line, the birds chirped at my window as the sun shone brightly on my feet touched the ground, the ground as I bounced out of bed. Or a vision of this. It's terrible. It's boring. It's not interesting. We don't care. Right? So let's say we started a, apologies to anybody who may have started a story in this way. Nothing personal, just as an English writer, I am an English teacher. Sorry, I'm telling you, don't do it again. Let's say we have a sunny day, and for some reason, something good is going to happen in our story. How could we, let's write a different sentence to indicate that. Involve letting the reader know that there's sun shining, but being more original with the expression. So rewrite one. We want to have a sunny day, but we want original expression. Okay, so if you tell me, so I'm just going to put some examples because I know we want to get to the end. Some of us are hungry. We didn't have lunch yet, right? Okay, so rays of sunshine, pride their way, to pry open, you know, you pry open something, PRY, you pull something apart that's hard to open, right? But so this, I'm using past tense here, pride their way through my bedroom curtains. All right. Morning sounds greeted me as I rolled myself out of bed to start my day. Let me see from outside my window, right? So I haven't actually mentioned the birds chirping. All right, so rewrite one suggests something good might be happening, right? Rewrite two. I looked out the window. The sun was shining weakly. Weakly, right? Clouds. Okay, so gray or ominous gray clouds. Were in the distance, slowly heading my way. Right? Okay, so which story is going to have something bad happen to the reader? The first one or the second one? The second one, right? So when we are writing our description, it's not just for the purpose of helping someone see something. That is part of it, right? But we want to also try to get people to go in the direction the story is going to go in. Right? So if the story is going to be upbeat and cheerful, that's fine. Have your opening be upbeat and cheerful. If the story is going to be something bad is going to happen to the person, put a detail in to suggest that. Right? All right, so we're going to stop here. I think homework this week will just be to review things. I will send back the link to the homework from last week for those of you who didn't get a chance to do it, or for anybody who might want to do it again, right? Let me get that link first, and then I'll come back to this slide, right? And you could keep writing. So this was the homework from last week. Uh-oh. Oh boy. Let me try again here. All right, and let me go back to the slide now. Right, so anybody who needs to take it down, you can take it down, the example. And here's the link to the homework, right? If you didn't submit, or if you want to submit again, you could go ahead. The questions are in the link itself, right? When you click on the link, you'll see it. All right, so we're wrapping up here. So today, we went over some examples for the different types of expository writing that we looked at last week. We also did compare and contrast, and we started to talk about descriptive writing a little bit. So next week, a little more on descriptive writing, but most of our time on narrative writing, right? Try to do the homework if you haven't done it already before next week, right? So just by next week's class, have it turned in. All right, so I'm stopping the recording here.